The standards that they apply to COVID and everything surrounding it are standards that they would never apply to any other scenario or illness. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for the support. On my channel, I like to give my opinion and perspective on things that are happening today, things that I think actually matter to everyday people, especially those of us trying to raise kids in the insanity known as today's society. Please like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and share it with others. Also, be sure you are subscribed so you can help me to grow this channel and hopefully reach more people that value logic, reason, and sanity. Also, be sure to find me on Rumble under Outspoken Samantha in the event that YouTube decides I have violated their community standards and chooses to kick me off their platform forever. That being said, let's get into today's topic. As I was scrolling yesterday through my suggested videos on YouTube, I saw that Michael Knowles posted a video about people on TikTok bashing anti-vaxxers, and just thought that would be a really fun rabbit hole to kind of dive down. So I have picked a few videos that I think are worth responding to. So let's get into it.
Does the do your own research crowd ever read past a headline? I really don't think they do. After this nurse was humiliated in court and tearfully apologized for what she had done, she was convicted on 6 counts of intentional assault. She was then given 6 months probation and stripped of her nursing license. Seeing as how this made international headline, this person is now embarrassed, disgraced, and has ruined their life. So it makes perfect sense that the anti-vax crowd would consider her a hero. I know a lot of them hate that term, anti-vaxxer. So maybe I'll just call them the medical freedom crowd. You know, the ones that believe you should have a right to make your own choices when it comes to the vaccine. Every single one of those people that she injected with salt water had chosen to get the vaccine. They went into a facility and requested the vaccine. This woman violated their trust, violated their medical autonomy, and violated their freedom. Freedom of choice, my ass. These people only believe in the freedom to choose for themselves. They don't believe in freedom of choice if you're choosing to get the vaccine. They sure as hell don't believe in a woman's right to choose.
She seems lovely. First of all, Sunshine, we are all aware of the charges that this woman faced and the fact that her nursing license was revoked, which were all completely appropriate consequences for the situation. What this guy is clearly referring to is the fact that she did not end up behind bars, as in she still has her freedom. And it's obvious that that's what he was referring to as he is dancing in front of the headline to this article, because if you scroll down through that very same article, it does list all of the charges that she faced. So myself, the man dancing in front of the headline, and the journalist who wrote the article all seem to know what's going on. The only person who doesn't seem to have a clue is you. Secondly, you're mistakenly making it seem like the idea of giving fake vaccines to people that have asked for them is an idea supported by those of us who have questioned getting the COVID vaccine. Instead of recognizing it for what it really is, which is the personal thoughts and actions of an individual that do not reflect what the vast majority of people think. It might shock you to find out that most of us agree that this was a terrible thing to do and that criminal charges absolutely were warranted, and that we don't agree with what she did. And lastly, when you say things like they only believe in freedom of choice for themselves, I would bet the $100 package of half a dozen eggs that I have sitting in my fridge that you're projecting, because you would support vaccine mandates across the board and you would take this choice away from people with no hesitation whatsoever. It does make me wonder if any of these self-righteous leftists who consistently use the phrase educate yourself ever consider anything past the few words that it takes to make up a headline or a talking point or a hashtag. Because I don't think you do.
Do you remember what was on the news prior to the rollout of the COVID vaccines? Hospitals unable to meet demands, patients getting left to pass away at home, patients in corridors, overflowing morgues, medical oxygen supplies running out. But you don't remember that, do you? Or if you do, I know what you'll say. You'll say, turn off the news, don't listen to the narrative. And yet here anti-vaxxers are telling us all to turn on the news so that we can cherry pick news stories about sudden mortalities, which by the way have occurred throughout humanity, and try to blame them on the vaccine without any evidence of causation whatsoever. And yet, the vaccinated are apparently the ones who have been fooled.
First of all, no one, literally no one that has questioned getting the COVID vaccine is going to tell you to turn on the news, because we know that the news is going to keep telling you that these things aren't happening, which is why you yourself still believe that these things aren't happening. In fact, it's because you still think the news is a credible source that you haven't seen any of this.
a big fat ass. Come on.
Married long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
It's because you keep turning on the news that you believe everything you were told, that hospitals were overflowing and bodies were piling up in the hallway, and nurses still had time to make dancing TikTok videos. Of course, in the beginning there was a lot that happened as we tried to figure out the best path forward in handling this disease, but it's when we realized that what the news was reporting didn't line up with reality that we started to ask questions, unlike you.
All because my son is not vaccinated.
So here's the deal. If your child is unvaccinated and you show up to an ER, the differential is going to look a lot different than if a vaccinated child comes to the hospital. We are at a place in the United States where, depending on your son's symptoms, polio would be in the differential. A disease we had eradicated and is now back because of anti-vax mindsets. We're having outbreaks of measles in unvaccinated populations, pertussis or whooping cough, COVID, influenza, you name it. And you hide behind a religious exemption because bullshit like this is not accepted in the real world, where we follow science and data. Let me ask you, was your God helping you when you were scared about what your son could possibly have? I'm all for freedom of religion, but not when it harms children. Listen, I am a mom. I am a very sensitive person too, but I have no sympathy for you. I do feel for your little boy though. I hope that he feels better, and I hope you change your mind about vaccinating.
So I don't have the full context of what she was referring to, of what the first mom was referring to. I don't know if her son was being denied a medical treatment or access to a medical facility. I have absolutely no idea. I do know that the second woman in response to her was calling her an anti-vaxxer by bringing up every single vaccine known to man, but from the social media comment that she took a screenshot of, the mom in the first video is just talking about the COVID vax. I think it's time people stop defending a vaccine that's not safe, and it's time to start letting people have medical freedom, and this should not be mandatory. You know that. The government knows that. This is medical tyranny. So from this comment, I'm going to assume that she's not referring to all vaccines. She is just talking about the COVID jabs. But of course, for whatever reason, you could be someone that has had every vaccine known to man, every vaccine that has ever been invented. Your entire blood supply could be drained from your body and replaced entirely with vaccine doses because you love them so much. You could have an entire shrine in your home dedicated to vaccines with syringes made of gold and a fountain that streams vaccine doses that you pay homage to every single night because you love vaccines so much. You could have a daughter named Rubella and a dog named Pertussis. But if you have not gotten the COVID jabs, suddenly you are anti-vax. That is the definition of being anti-vax. And I love how these people all try to lump in every other vaccine that's available to us. They try to lump it in with the COVID vaccine. Polio, measles, smallpox, whooping cough, all of these things that took decades to develop, that have been around for years and that have been proven to work. You know why? Because the vast majority of the population has been vaccinated against these things, and it's pretty much eradicated these diseases because the vaccines work. Whereas the COVID vaccine, it took about 5 minutes to see that it wasn't preventing people from getting sick and it wasn't preventing the spread of the illness, which is what vaccines are supposed to do. But we know that they are not the same, because as unfortunate as it is when someone does come down with a case of the measles or smallpox or any of these other illnesses that they should have been vaxxed for but chose not to, you know who doesn't have to worry about catching those diseases? You and me, sister, because we have been jabbed for them and we know that these things work. And I would also hope that in these incidents where people do catch these diseases for whatever reason, whether they've been vaxxed or not, that you and I can both agree that we should not deny treatment to them, that we should not deny medical care to them. And I would also hope that if we did start to see a widespread breakout of things like polio and measles after most of the population has been jabbed for it, that you and I would both start to question whether or not moving forward with those vaccines would be appropriate until we know that they are effective again. I honestly just cannot figure out what it is about the COVID virus and the vaccines that are associated with it that has caused people to be so completely blind to the fact that it is nothing like any other vaccine that we have seen or have access to, and that the standards that they apply to COVID and everything surrounding it are standards that they would never apply to any other scenario or illness. I have never been anti-vax. I would not call myself anti-vax. All of my kids have had their vaccinations, measles, polio, smallpox, all of the things that are on the regular vaccine schedule, you name it, that's what we've done, and you can judge me for it if you want. Everybody's entitled to their unpopular opinion. But they've also all had the COVID virus. My middle son and my daughter had it, and they had no symptoms whatsoever. My oldest had it, and he had a fever and a headache for a couple of days. My husband had it once. I've had it twice. So we know that COVID is real, and we've always taken the necessary precautions to keep from spreading it at those times. I just don't get people like this women who willfully and blatantly refuse to acknowledge that there are legitimate reasons to have questions about it. Because you know what really doesn't serve the world? Ignoring reality. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, like this video, share it, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I post a video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.